My name is Otieno Owino. I am a journalist and editor based in Nairobi. I mean, there's the oversized influence of Binyavanga on African literature. And there's so many people he gave opportunities. If Binyavanga saw your work and it was great, he would basically, connect you to something else and then you go and do something else. And if we are thinking about literary publishing as we consider it now, we have to go back to the 1962 African Writers' Conference.
At Makerere.
At Makerere. Jem Kariuki wrote Mama Oditini, I think 1963, about his experience of being in detention. Tom Mboya wrote Freedom and After, also very nationalistic. I hope people buy more books. I hope people join book clubs. I hope we continue doing literary reviews, which has not been great in the last couple of years.
This is the year of our Lord 2025, and I think it's as good a time as any to sit back and reflect on the journey of Kenyan literature, starting when it started, when we had our first novel, the 1960s. But is that really when Kenyan literature starts, or should we go back to the colonial times? Should we go back to the pre-colonial times? And what is the state of Kenyan literature today? What are the challenges that face our literature, and what are the epochs that it has run through since its beginning to this point, and what are the conditions that have led to its growth and or decline, as it were? My name is Eric Rugara. Welcome to Conversations in Literature. So today I'm joined by Otieno Owino, who is an editor and journalist based in Nairobi. He was an assistant editor at Kwani Trust between 2015 and 2019, where he was part of the editorial team on the Kwani manuscript project and the Kwani journal. He also co-edited the short story Day Africa ID anthology in 2018. In 2016, he served as junior editor of Safe House Explorations in Creative Nonfiction, an anthology put together by Commonwealth writers, where he worked with editor Ella Wakatama Alfrey, and so on. Like, he is an accomplished editor. So welcome,
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So for us to figure out if we are doing okay, I think we need to know where we've come from, yeah? So if you had to talk about the origins of Kenyan literature, so maybe there's primordial origins, and then there's like the real origins. So which is the real beginning of Kenyan literature?
I mean, I think if you go way, way back, all communities had their own, or what we call in literature studies as legends, myths, oral traditions, basically, because I think it's a fact, or it's taken as a fact that, and I think it's a fact really, that most of our African societies were oral, so stories passed over from generation to generation. The thing that we learned a lot about was, the division of labor, the girls with the grandmothers and the other siblings, and the women, the boys with the men, the age sets and the age groups. So there was literature there, stories passed in the playing fields, in the evening, when people have come back from their activities, maybe agrarian or cattle keeping or whatever. So there's always that. There's literature there. Kumba Miruka has written a bit about all of our oral traditions and all of that. So there's that. Then there's also the literature at the coast that we were talking about earlier. But if you're talking about the formal printing press type of thing, and then the evolution of the literary and the publishing scene, we go back mostly, especially for the Kenyan side of things, we go back to about 1887 with the establishment of a press in Freretown. I think that's also at the coast. Yeah, it's at the coast. With the Christian Missionary Society. It's a press, it's for evangelizing.
Okay.
So there is text in local languages to spread the word of God.
So literature, when do we start seeing literature? Like now, stories, fiction, novels,
In 1950, Longman is the first European publisher to come into Kenya. And then in 1952, they are followed by Oxford University Press. Then, of course, we have independence, and in 1965, we have lots of European publishers coming in also. So we have the likes of, I think, Evans Brothers, Heinemann Educational Books. East Africa Publishing House is partly owned by another European publisher called Andre Dusch. So at that time, really, all of the stuff is done, I think, in the UK, and then they bring back the books. So they only have like subsidiaries here. So they do stuff, then they bring the books here to sell, and then they repatriate the money. But if we are thinking about literary publishing as we consider it now, we have to go back to the 1962 African Writers Conference.
At Makerere.
At Makerere.
1962 conference.
Yeah.
At Makerere University in Uganda, where you have Ngũgĩ Thiong'o, Chinua Achebe, I think Wole Soyinka was there, Ezekiel Mfalele, so many big names. Actually, more Kenyans as well. I think Kariara was there.
Ngũgĩ was there. Ngũgĩ,
yes.
I mean, actually,
yeah.
The Kenyans who were there are basically Ngũgĩ.
We had like 4 or 3
Grace
Kenyans.
Ogot, and Rebecca Njau.
Okay.
And by the way, they were all students at the time. None of them was invited as a writer. They had published a few things in the Makerere literary journal, I think it's called Pen Point. So they were there. Chinua Achebe was there, and I think at the time he was editing the African Writers series with Heinemann Educational Books. So that's why it's important to remember the coming of these European publishers. Heinemann Educational Books would have later on, I think, as their first African editor, Henry Shakava, who died was it last year. Yeah, he's been called the father of Kenyan literature or publishing, maybe. He wrote a book about his journey into publishing, by the way. And then later on it becomes East African Educational Publishers in 1992, I think. Anyway, yeah, so after the conference, that is...
a quick question.
Yeah.
So these guys, the students, do they get into the conference?
Yeah.
They are in there?
Yeah.
So any student at Makerere who wanted to be in the conference could get in?
I don't know.
Or just the talented ones?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it was literature. They were from the English department. All of this was studying in the Makerere English department. So they take part in this. I think the question there at the time was the question of language. There's why do we write in English? Do we write in local languages? Then I think Ngũgĩ refines his language ideology later. And now we always have this Achebe, Ngũgĩ dichotomy when we're talking about language, whether we should write in our local languages. And then Achebe, who says we'll do, is it unheard of things?
Yes, we are going to do unheard of things to the English language.
Yeah. So there's that. So I guess after that, then Ngũgĩ becomes the preeminent Kenyan writer. His first book is Weep Not Child, right?
His first book is Weep Not Child.
Yeah, yes. And then that might have been in 1964.
I think so.
Yeah.
That makes it the first Kenyan novel. Yeah. Although he had written River Between earlier, but the first
published later. Yeah.
And I think he also wrote The Black Hermit as a play when he was at Makerere.
Yeah. So in the early 60s, I think the most important writers around that time are Ngũgĩ. I think Grace Ogot also writes, is it Land Without Thunder? yeah, and then another book, The Promised Land. Yeah. So those are like in the 60s, the earliest works that come out of Kenya are Ngũgĩ, Grace Ogot. Of course, we have to remember Tomboya and J.M. Kariuki had written some stuff just after the independence. J.M. Kariuki wrote Mama Oditini, I think 1963, about his experience of being in detention. Tomboya wrote Freedom and After, also very nationalistic. So in those early 60s, these are the writers we see as the prominent. Yeah.
This is a good question. Could it be could this be the reason why Ngũgĩ and some of the early Kenyan writers were more into political writing, because this is what they understood to be Kenyan writing? Because the people who had been writing before were writing nationalistic writing. They were politicians, or they were Could this be the reason?
Part of it is that, and I think part of it is also it's independence. There's the optimism around it. We know these guys at Makerere. There is the rising of African nationalism just post-independence. There is also the reckoning with the colonial experience. So I suppose that is like the sort of the mood of the times. Grace Ogot actually doesn't interrogate colonialism that much. She comes with something almost goth, almost macabre, based on Luo mythology and Luo mystics. So I guess she's like the counterpoint to Ngũgĩ, who then becomes very, very committed in terms of exploring the colonial experience. But also, if you think of Ngũgĩ's early writings, it's very European influenced, in the sense of the tragic hero stuff, the conflict between the individual and the community.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, in the river between, for instance, Wayaki is on reckoning with the culture. The schools being set up by Africans. There's the Christian, whatever we call traditionalist divide and all of that.
He was not socialist at that point.
Yeah.
Because I think in the later books, there's this whole idea of collectivism, talking about the peasants coming together, like Karega in Petals of Blood. There's that whole idea of bringing people together to fight the... So basically now it's the individual bringing the society together. Yeah,
and I think that partly is influenced by his education on Makerere. The fact that that was usually the European model of individual agency, but now he's reckoning with the fact that African communities are communal. And of course he gets into Marxism bigly at some point. And then his later works become very focused on the masses versus the powers that be, and of course also that is influenced by the happenings. There's a disillusionment that comes in the African literature after independence. We've been independent. We thought, we get the white man out, and then we'll come back and then grow ourselves. But then you find that the guys we put in power not meeting the expectations. So then there's those early years we get the books. I think I have to shout out to Lexa Lubanga and Kenyan Readathon. I think she has like a terrific list of books published along all of these eras. So the kind of work she's doing is great work, I suppose.
It is.
Yeah, it's the work that, if you want to know which are the writers who published around which time, she's like, the Kenyan Readathon is a good place to start. But I think the prominent writers around those time was Grace Ogot and Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o. I think there's another writer I'm forgetting.
Carriera? Oh, what about Okot Pibitek?
Okot Pibitek, he's Ugandan, so if we're talking about Kenyan.
Who is this who wrote Song of Lawino?
It's Okot Pibitek.
Is Ugandan?
Yeah, he's Ugandan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it feels more Kenyan. I don't know why.
But East African literature at the time was very transboundary. There was, I mean, in the early times, publishing was East African Literature Bureau, which became Kenya Literature Bureau after the collapse of the EAC, published a lot of the early anthologies. At that time, we had offices in Nairobi, I think Kampala and Dar es Salaam. So the work was very cross-border in that sense. So I guess at that time, the writing was very East African than definitively Kenyan or Ugandan so the likes of David Cook edited some anthologies that had lots of writers from across the region. So I think then Pabite comes with his poetic tradition, you know, and then it becomes very influential, of course, as well. So I think when you think about Pabite as being Kenyan, it's because it's very it's the kind of work that has transcended all the East African regions, I suppose.
Let's talk about African Writer Series. So Ngũgĩ was published in African Writer Series. Ngũgĩ met Achebe at the Makerere conference. Could this be the time when he made that connection, which allowed him to send a manuscript?
There's a whole story about Ngũgĩ being published by Achebe. I don't remember it fully. Yeah, but Achebe was basically a commissioning editor. But yes, the connection, basically Achebe coming here at that time, he was working with someone called Keith Stambrook, I think. I might be wrong, but there was of course, he was part of Heinemann Educational Books, and he was the commissioning editor for the first several years until he left the job. But that is where the connection is made. I don't remember. I read about that connection between Achebe and Ngũgĩ and how he gets to publish that first book. There's someone who's written like very academic. I think she's called Caroline Davis. She has a book that basically tracks I have that book in my shelf somewhere. She tracks Heinemann Educational Books and the oversight role it had in the early African publishing. It published all of the prominent African writers.
How many, besides Ngũgĩ, were there many other Kenyan writers who got published on AWS?
Yeah, I mean, Grace Ogot was there. I think Rebecca Njau got in there finally.
Did Major Mwangi Carcass for Hounds?
I think so.
I think I seem to remember a red cover for that book.
Yeah, I think so. But we could
orange.
There's lots of the early Kenyan writers were published in that series. It's a long series.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then, at what point do we start getting the popular fiction? You know, fiction that is very entertaining, which is where Major Mwangi falls in with Kill Me Quick and so on, going down River Road. Although if you read those books today, they are popular and entertaining, but they seem very serious as well.
No, they are serious. I think, I don't know, I think in the 70s, of course, the era when we get these books, Major Mwangi's entire catalog, I mean, the majority of his catalog is published in the 70s. I think also in the 70s, a writer who is less talked about is Henry Olekulet, who publishes a lot of books in the 70s as well. But I don't know. I mean, I've not read a lot of Olekulet. I have to admit. Even the text. I think I haven't read him much. The text that
I didn't know he was from way back then.
Yeah, I mean, even I had to look when I was preparing to do this. I looked around and thought, okay, it can't only be Major Mwangi. Then I found that Olekulet was.
Well, there was also Charles Mangwa. Mwangi Geshero.
Yeah, Mwangi Geshero wrote Across the Bridge.
Across the Bridge.
That was late 70s.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's this other guy called Mwangi Roheni.
Mwangi Roheni.
Actually, there was just an explosion of popular fiction because in the 80s you get John Kiriamete, Jack Zolo saga. Then there were so many. I don't know, there was something called pace setters at some point.
Yeah. Pace setters was.
Although I think it was Nigerian.
Well, yeah, I think that was Macmillan.
Oh.
Macmillan were the publishers of pace setters, I think. They still exist, by the way. If you go to the bookshops, you'll find some of them. With, I don't know, the person who did the covers for pace setters was terrific. Yes, the new ones, I don't like them.
Yeah, the old covers. I found these websites with just pace setters. It's very nostalgic seeing those covers. So I don't know if it's the covers were terrific or nostalgia is.
I think they're terrific.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the covers for current pace setters. In my opinion, and I could say in my considered opinion, they are not great. I mean, so I don't know what was happening in these mid-70s. I'm not really plugged into that history. But after the big explosion in the nationalistic literature, there's some sort of a move to people writing about the quotidian, like the day-to-day, the social realities. A lot of you said Major Mwangi's work is serious. Yeah, it's really serious work.
It's serious.
Yeah, it's serious work in the
sense
that
it's existential.
Yeah. And then there's I'm imagining the colonization is like years later gone. There's a bit of disillusionment again with the way governments are being run, countries are being run, the economy, the politics, and all of that. So then the writing sort of reflects that. I think Major Mwangi's writing, all of these people who are poor, who trying to make a living, but also the social connections between people of different classes and that. So then it becomes, but also writing is just great. I like Major Mwangi personally.
So you have to maybe consider, politics affects literature, or politics affects society, and society affects literature. So the writer exists within the society, and the society has certain forces that create the conditions that affect the soul of an individual, and the writing comes from that soul, right? So now you have the colonization and the struggle between colonization and traditionalism, and that is reflected in the 60s. We have Ngũgĩ writing about the colonization. We also have him writing about the traditional society in River Between. There was female circumcision. Then you have Grace Ogot writing. She does not have that struggle with the colonization. I'm not sure.
I mean,
she's rich in that the African.
Yes.
She is fully immersed in that. So there is no contradiction in her, as with Ngũgĩ, where there is a contradiction. Where is he James Ngũgĩ or is he Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o? Is he, like with Waiyaki in River Between, is he the educated young man from Syriana, or is he the grandson of Mogo wa Kefiro? I think it was. So now that's the 60s, So then we have the independence government, and we have these young people growing up, or not growing up, like they've come of age in an independent Kenya. Maybe they don't care so much about what was in the past, because young people care about the present. We saw this with Gen Z. So they don't care about your credentials as a father of democracy in the 90s, because we are now in the 2020s, and
this is our reality.
They feel that you are betraying them in the present, so they will ignore your history. So now they will ignore the previous history and focus on the present. And in the present, we have what not Major Mwangi. Mwangi, what was his name? You mentioned him. The Mau Mau detainee, JM Kariuki, yes. JM Kariuki, 1975. He says that Kenya is becoming a country of 10 millionaires and 10 million beggars. So this is the reality of young people growing up, or not growing up, coming of age at this point. So I think it makes sense that they start writing about the down and out, the struggles they are going through. So the struggles Ngũgĩ was seeing as struggles were colonial struggles, but the struggles these guys are seeing as struggles are the struggles of their life.
Yeah.
That's the 70s.
Yeah.
Then you come to the 80s, and we have another struggle because we start getting into repression in the country.
Yeah.
And we start seeing more political writing again. I don't know when Betrayal in the City was written.
Betrayal in the City?
Yes.
That was 79.
79.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was 79.
Although the Kenyatta government also became very repressive after 69, they were repressing. There was repression against political leaders. And I think it keeps progressing. We have a lot of assassinations. You go and look at a lot of people who died, politicians who died in that era. They died in mysterious ways, but we don't talk about all of them as assassinations.
Yeah.
So Ronald Gala died in a car accident, mysteriously. Probably it was an assassination. Yeah, so a lot of these guys were dying like flies. So there is repression, but maybe the citizens weren't so much aware of it. But 1975, JM Kariuki is killed, and the students of Nairobi University, James Orengo being one of the organizers, they have a strike. And I think it was a strike all over the country.
Yeah, it was a massive strike, yes.
Of the students. So students are becoming more political, right? We have more strikes, so it makes sense that students start the writers who come of age in the 80s will write, or late 70s will write really political texts, like Betrayal in the City. We have Katama Mkangi, maybe, I think Kithaka Wamberia. These are people coming up around this time. Koigi Wamwere also writes a book called Woman Reborn. Wahome Mutahi. Yeah,
Wahome Mutahi, I think is in the 90s.
Yes. When was he detained? He was detained in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, but his work comes out in the 90s.
In the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's the same milieu, basically.
Yeah. I think, of course, there's the coup in 82, and then there's massive repression.
Yeah.
There's a funny story. I think one of our lecturers might have said this in a literature class about Betrayal in the City. That when this guy, I think, what is it? Is it Jasper?
Yes, I think that was his name, Jasper.
He doesn't kill that leader because you couldn't imagine the death of a president. Anyway, I think so. The repression after the coup and then the more dictatorship. It's a dictatorship. And then in the 90s, Wahome Mutahi becomes a very important writer in the 90s with his 3 Days on the Cross, Jailbug. Is it Jailbug?
Jailbug, yeah.
Yeah. So those are the main. He publishes that work around that time.
But the book is about something that happens in the 80s.
Yeah. When was he detained?
It must have been the 80s.
I think I read this recently for some other work I was doing.
Yeah, and it was very interesting because Wahome Mutahi, he was arrested in the middle of writing a piece for his column, the Whispers column. Yes. Yeah. So I found this piece online. I found it and read it. It's very interesting because you read it. It's a very funny. It's a funny column, of course. And then somewhere like quarter into it or middle way into it, it ends. And then the editor writes, Wahome Mutahi was arrested when in the middle of writing this, and this is where it's ended. Yeah, so they carried him away from Nation Center. That's where he was arrested. People by special branch. Yeah.
And he was detained for over a year, for several months. Yeah.
So this is the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And the 90s. So the 90s we have a new dawn. do you have a lot of literature in the 90s? Actually, another thing is the 80s sees the rise of many Kiswahili writers.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean, I don't know either. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, because I was researching into it and realized we started having more Kiswahili writers in the 80s. So I wonder, does it have something to do with the publishers or does it have something to do with the writers?
I think it has to do with both. I mean, I think the center of a lot of literary production still, even in that time, is the universities. So universities producing writers, publishing, with publishers, of course. I think Chakava must have some hand in that. I wouldn't say.
Oh yeah. Because his publishing house had published. I don't know if it's called Masomo ya Msingi, the first. The first Kiswahili textbook they did. And that could have been 70s, maybe. I don't know, I'm not sure. So maybe that could have been the beginning. Yeah,
but also there is the 844 comes at some point. Prior to 844, I think Kiswahili wasn't compulsory set text. I mean, compulsory language of study as 844 made it become. So that could be one of it. I mean, earlier in the day, people just used to, you could take, in the advanced, in the A levels, I think you could drop Kiswahili. Yeah, so, I mean, so there could be that also. Yeah.
Okay.
Matigari, Matigari was published also by Chakava in 87, I think, and then translated later. Yeah, so I guess, I think there could be many reasons.
Well, but another question would be, could it also be influenced by Ngũgĩ's politics of writing in African languages, Kiswahili being one? You know, some writers could have been like, you know, I can't write in Dholuo or Kipsigis, but I can write in Kiswahili. I won't find an audience like Ngũgĩ if I write in my language, but if I write in Kiswahili, maybe. Because Ngũgĩ starts those politics in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Then he publishes I'll Marry When I Want, Matigari in his language, Devil on the Cross. So maybe. Yeah. Because now in the 80s we do have an explosion of Kiswahili literature. A lot.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, you know, I think there's always been a disservice to Kiswahili literature, either, you know, in terms of the conversations we have. I mean, even us speaking here, we haven't mentioned one. I haven't mentioned one.
I have.
One, you have, yes, you have. I haven't mentioned one Kiswahili text. And if I were to say, I'd remember all of the ones that have been said. I mean, I did Q. That tells you something about how old I am. I did Q. No, did I do Q? Actually, I did Walenisi.
Walenisi by Katama
Mkangi. Which I read it again recently, and I thought, whoa, this was really subversive.
He was a politician, by the way.
Yeah, he was.
Did he run for president?
I think he did.
In the 90s, 92.
Yeah, I think he did run for president. The book was really subversive. I mean, it is really subversive. I don't even know who allowed it to go, knowing how rigorous the process of allowing books to go into schools is.
But that's a question, by the way, I would really want to ask. They have consistently, whoever allows these books at KICD, consistently all the books, or most of the books, they allow really political books.
Well, yes, but not too political.
No, they do allow political books. My set book was Kifo Kisimani, political book. Like books which teach you as a student about the need to fight injustice, to fight oppression, to fight the government, to fight the powers that be. I did Enemy of the People by Henry Gibson. And it's really about an individual going against the society or against, like Ngũgĩ, but now it's against the whole political establishment.
Actually, I taught that one.
Oh, you did?
I taught.
Yeah, so he goes against all that. So basically the message is, as an individual, you're a revolutionary, you can go against everyone, so long as you have justice and truth on your side. So these books...
There's a lot of politics about...
Yes. So and then we also did Shreds of Tenderness, which was also about Uganda, time of Idi Amin, I think. So also very political. Maya Waziri wa Maradhi, even it's in the name basically. So for when I was growing up, when I was in school and wanting to be a writer, I loved reading things like Stephen King. So I always thought, how am I ever going to learn how to write political things? Because it seems this is what matters. Because for me, when I wrote, I would write entertainment like Stephen King, things I like to read. I didn't like reading these political books that we were having as set books. So in my mind, and I believe in many people's minds, this is what a real book is supposed to be, political.
I guess not necessarily, but I think there's all sorts of parameters that they use to choose the books that then go in there. There's all sorts of... one of the goals of education stated by the Ministry of Education is national unity, inculcation of values, personal growth, and things like that. And when you choose a book, you look at the literary qualities is one of those things. The times, of course, these people who choose books are Kenyan. They know the times. And talking as someone who's been a teacher also, actually did education. The books that they said normally will have all of those elements that you want to teach. So if you want to talk about satire, you look for a book that will definitely present some of that. If you want to talk about characterization and what is the agency of characters and stuff, you'll have some bold characters. If you want to talk about FGM, which is a national, for a long time was the goal of the government to eradicate. So one way of doing that is to use propaganda from a book, so to speak, and then use it in the school system, and then try to influence the minds of younger people in certain ways with that. So I think the cultural scene is important for educators, and when people are young, you can try to influence them in certain ways. But I do think, at least it didn't last. It normally takes 5 years for a book to be pulled off. At least it didn't take 5 years.
But the question, you see, during the Gen Z protest last year, I remember Parliament sat to debate the books that are in the curriculum. There's a book called Parliament of Worlds by Adiposi Dan. And I think it was quoted in the real parliament. It's very very bizarre actually. And they said, actually there was a member who said these books are the ones which have taught these young people to do this. So the question is, are the people at KICD, have they been influencing generations? Because you said that it's propaganda to influence minds. Have they been influencing young people's minds in the hope that one day there'll be a revolution? Well, I'm being really whatever, but in the hope that you will have a compact majority of people who can bring social change in the society.
Well, I think educators are aware, curriculum developers are aware. We've had censorship. Matigari, for instance, put Shakava into a lot of trouble. So I suppose, I wouldn't go as far as to say what you're suggesting, but look, it's one way of influencing societal change, I'd say. But yeah, books are powerful. I think books are powerful, and they are one way of influencing people. If you look at certain times, I mean, some books will become popular at certain times. Some people will always go back to certain books to figure out what is happening with them. And talking about that, I'm hoping people are writing about the revolution. Well, that never was the Gen Z movement. I think already someone has written
Darius
something.
Okala.
Yeah, is it Okala?
Yeah,
he's written
Okala, sorry.
something.
He has written, I don't know his essays.
Yeah, there could be essays. I just hope people are writing about this moment, and that we'll find something that will record this moment for
posterity.
Yeah, for posterity. Yeah.
Okay, so in the 80s, before we leave the 80s, something happens. 80s, 90s. There's a World Bank. 1987, World Bank says that governments or that schools need to carry their own cross. Not be supported
the structural adjustment programs.
They need to carry their own cross, not be supported by government when it comes to textbooks. So then after that, the government stops buying textbooks for students. Do you think this had something to? Do you think this could be the reason why the Kenyan publishers stopped publishing fiction almost entirely, unless it's a set book material?
Well, I don't think they stopped. Yeah.
Well, they do publish what they believe will be a set book, but they don't. When's the last time they published something popular fiction that we were talking about? You go and read Going Down River Road. It's not something a Kenyan publisher would publish today, or My Life in Crime. Even the language in Going Down River Road, it's very.
Well, I think definitely the structural adjustment programs affect publishing to a big deal. I think it's also what contributes to the flight of all of the bigger of the other publishers, the European publishers that then become local subsidiaries.
Okay. They ran away.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, Heinemann became EAP later. I think first of all they become something else, and then they leave in 1992. 92 is like SAPS is taking proper shape. Macmillan became Moran later, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Although I think I grew up reading Macmillan books.
Yes. Yeah. So it does. I mean, it affects the whole economy. There's a lot of retrenchment going on. School is expensive. Parents don't have money to buy books. The economy is in tatters at some point. There's also the clamor for multi-party. So yeah, it does affect publishing. But I think the River and the Source, which is one of those set texts, so that it might be confirming your theory.
Yes.
It's published in 94.
It's been a set text for a number of times.
Yeah. So yeah, I think. Look, if you go to a bookshop, the reason I'm contesting that point you make is if you go to a bookshop, you'll always find Kenyan authored texts
by Kenyan
mainstream publishers.
Okay, give me an example of one which is not set book material.
No, just go to any bookshop. You'll find.
You know, when I say set book material, I mean it's something that has themes, so to speak.
All literary work have themes.
Well, you know what I mean when I say themes. They are the themes which are desired by educators, themes of politics and stuff. But what about themes of sex? All those, you won't find that.
Yeah. So if you
compare it with Charles Mango. You go and read Charles Mango. Do you imagine Charles Mango being a set book?
No.
Exactly.
No, but it has readers.
Sure, it has readers. Would Charles Mangwa be published by a mainstream publisher today? The answer is
That's
no.
a fair question.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Even a book like Hail Jail, the House of All.
That's across the bridge.
Yes, Across the Bridge.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. There's another one called A Brief Assignment. That book it would never. I read that book when I was growing up. It's a very dirty book. Incredibly dirty. It would not be published.
I think so. First of all, let me say something about the publishing. At that point, it becomes focused on, well, we call it bread and butter in publishing terms. The bread and butter of the publishers is textbooks.
Yes.
You can scale. You can sell thousands and thousands of copies, which means you can produce cheaply, which means then also there is customers that you're selling to. And then there's the profit motive of publishers. All publishers want to make some money. Now, around that time, people don't have money, so they're not going to be buying books.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So you think, okay, what are people going to be forced to buy? It's school texts. They have to buy because everyone wants their child to, go through school and then pass and, improve their situation or status in life and all of that. So then it becomes the thing. In some other jurisdictions, well, outside of most of African countries, even if you go to South Africa, they produce a lot of literary stuff. My theory is that the culture of buying books goes down because
in Kenya.
Yeah, in Kenya. Yeah. So that there's just not a disposable income to buy books. So that would be one reason why they decide, okay, we were not going to invest in something that will stay in the shelves.
Well, that may be so, but I also think it becomes what do you call it? It becomes a vicious cycle.
Absolutely.
Cycle, sorry.
Yeah.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So when you stop publishing,
the
reading culture goes down. So then it now tells you, this is even why we wouldn't actually publish, because you don't have a reading culture. But you killed the reading culture.
Well, I wouldn't say the reading culture. I would say book buying culture.
No, reading culture is dead.
No,
it was killed of reading culture. Go and ask Kenyans about Kenyan writers, and not Kenyans who are into the literary scene. Ask Kenyans. Ordinary Kenyans.
But I think you're narrowing down what reading is.
No. Ask.
These people spend 10 hours on Facebook.
There was
reading long notes.
Well, that's a cop-out argument.
No, it's not a cop-out. It's reading.
It is.
I count it as reading.
Well, I don't, because we are talking about books. We are talking about books.
Yeah.
We are talking about books. So it's like talking about cinema, and then you bring up TikTok. It's not the same.
You read Whispers, right? Religiously, for instance.
That's journalism in the newspapers. I'm talking about reading culture of books.
Okay, then we have to define it that way.
Yeah, well,
because I for one don't believe we don't, Kenyans don't read.
We don't read books.
Well, yeah, you could say that.
No,
but also I would still argue against that.
It's not you could say that.
I would argue against that.
No, I have done those experiments. I have done those experiments where I write about books. Today, I don't get a lot of traction, but when I write about books from back then, from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, arguably, books we grew up reading, basically, I get maybe even thousands of comments, which tells you that books from way back are well known by Kenyans because they read them in school. So a lot of people last read a book as a set book in school, or a book they had to read. But reading for leisure, we last did it. A lot of people last did it when they were in school. So what we have right now, we do have with the Kenyan Readathon and all these other initiatives coming up. So we are creating a new reading culture and everything, and that this is all thanks to the internet. and the power of the internet to create communities. So we thank the internet. But the publishers killed the reading culture. So the readers right now are reclaiming the reading. Readers and writers are reclaiming the reading culture. Publishers killed it. This is a fact. No, this is.
I mean, I can debate you like with
no, you can
that
debate
for
yes.
forever.
What do you
There
think?
was a time in Kenya, there was an explosion of people reading self-help. Part of it is also economic
True.
conditions. So these guys who read, becoming a better you, how to make friends and this. You count that as reading, right?
Not really.
Again,
it's not. I define it as reading for leisure. You don't read self-help for leisure. You read self-help. It is, what is the word for it? There's an objective use for it. There's an objective use. There's utilitarian reading, basically.
But it's all reading. I mean.
No. I don't know if you are a publisher. Are you? Because you're taking it like, as when you have a politician on the bench and they have to defend the government. So you're defending the publishers, but I'm actually raising a good argument, which you have not actually argued against.
Look, so right now, if you think of if you go to TBC, they have a book club, and I've seen people go there, and you'll find 100 people plus. They'll have bought the book, they'll have read it, they'll be.
You know what I said? I said readers. TBC is for readers. It's a bookshop. Readers and writers have been reclaiming the reading culture for the last decade, like in the 2010s, coming to now to the 2020s. These are people who feel that there's a gap we need to create book clubs, we need to do all these things. So it's readers and it's writers, and it's happening also thanks to the internet. But the publishers themselves, that's what I'm saying, they've been sitting back and watching as it happens.
Okay, I agree with you.
So we have text the what do you call them, the bookshops. We have Nuria, for example, has done a lot of work with this. And Nuria comes up on the internet. Kenyan Readathon, you mentioned Lexa Lubanga, who was our first guest, by the way, on the show. She uses the internet. So basically, the internet is the technology that has enabled coming back of the reading culture. Actually, this show, it's on the internet. Same thing, yeah? But publishers have not yet decided that to step in and tap into this. I know Ikitabu has coming, but Ikitabu is a foreign publisher. But Ikitabu has seen an opportunity in what is happening in the literary scene because they see growth, right? So that's why they're investing. What about our local publishers? They're still doing the textbooks or doing the books which they commission, where they tell you exactly, like they could even give you the cliffhanger. They could give you the themes. I want you to write a book about environment or something, and this is what should be in the book. This is not.
Yeah, it's
which
curriculum stuff.
Which curtails creativity, of course.
I mean, I agree with you in to that extent that publishers have taken a backseat, and like I was saying earlier, in many other places where publishing has thrived, there are books that you publish because you believe in them. They might sell today, they might not sell. But then there are other books that you then publish to then make the money to pay for this other book. So, I mean, I have not worked with a Kenyan publisher. I've applied for jobs many times back in the days when I was not in full-time employment and stuff. But I've never worked with like a local publisher. I have done some freelance stuff where you get asked to do some proofreading, some copy editing and stuff. I've done that. But like, yeah, I agree. And the main reason we have the explosion of self-publishing in Kenya in recent years is partly the reluctance of Kenyan publishers to take risks. They don't want to take risks, I think. They don't want to do. I think there's a morality crisis in Kenyan publishing where something has to be a certain kind of way. You won't want to have swear words. You don't want to have, you know, titillating stuff in stories. And I don't know why it is just now, because if you read Across the Bridge, which was published, I think, in 1989, you read Son of a Woman, you read all of the, I mean, even John Kiriamiti's work. I remember my father finding me reading John Kiriamiti when I was in class 7, and was very annoyed. Anyway, so it was stuff that was risky, but it's sold. John Kiriamiti is sold. It's selling even now, and I do think that they're doing it. I mean, I've always wanted to buy, but I go and get the copy. I don't know who's publishing it. Some Spear Books. I go and get the copy, and I can't buy because of the very, very poor quality production of that book as it is now. I can't buy it because I think this is John Kiriamiti we're talking about. I can't buy this book because of just the production quality of it. Go look for a John Kiriamiti book in the bookshop. It's terribly done, I think. And I can say this without fear of contradiction. That, you know, so again, publishers right now don't want to take risks with work. And it's the reason a lot of later Kenyan publishers are publishing in the diaspora. And part of it is also about the way that people who do actually produce work may have studied abroad, and so there's the diasporification of also of Kenyan literature and stuff. But the big problem with Kenyan publishers is the fact that you send manuscript, you might be read and reviewed, you might get a rejection or not, and many times you'll get a rejection. People who are writing seriously don't think that they'll get the right editors for their work there because of the clear historical, you know, the history of who has been published in the past. If you want to publish with someone, you want to look who have they published, and you read the stuff they've published, and then you think, oh, okay, would this be good for me? So there has been a lack of investment by Kenyan publishers, and hence the emergence of the likes of Kwani, which said, look, we're going to do something different. The emergence now of self-publishing, to a very, very large extent, people publishing their books by themselves. It's a hassle. It becomes a hassle when you have to do everything for yourself as a publisher, and a writer, and market it, and distribute it, and do all sorts of things. So yeah, so I think, yeah, I agree with you on the point of the lack of investment by Kenyan publishers, and the restrictive nature of the work they want to publish, and their inability to take risks with the literary work. That would then, you know, transcend Kenyan borders and then go out there.
Tell me about Kwani.
What do you want to know about Kwani?
Well, you know, you just mentioned it.
Well, I worked
and I know you worked there.
I think the story of Kwani is well known. It's well written about. I worked with Kwani I think it's where I started my sort of editing work. In 2014, I went to workshop for editing in Uganda, run by African Writers Trust. They're doing amazing things for Eastern African writers, actually African writers. So it was an editorial training workshop. At that time, I'd been doing some work, proofreading, copy editing, here and there, and then I saw a call out, then I applied, and then I was accepted, and I went to Kampala for the first time for nearly a week. And Ella Wakatama was the trainer, and she'd been working with Kwani on the Kwani Manuscript Prize. Kwani actually launched Chintu in June 2014 while I was in Kampala. That was the first time it was launched in Kampala. So I took part in this workshop. I may have made an impression, and then they asked me, "Oh, would you like to do some work for Kwani?" And I said yes. So the first thing I did with Kwani was proofread Boy Interrupted, which is by Sam Limono. He's a Liberian writer. It was part of the Kwani manuscript project shortlist because they were publishing all of them. Then I worked. Then after that I joined Kwani in 2015, I think around Feb. Yeah. And then we worked on several other books. Kwani 8, which is the last journal published by Kwani. It was taking stock of the election.
Which year was it?
This was 2015 now. Kwani 8 was, I think it should have been published earlier because it was taking stock of the 2013 elections and how chaotic they were. The accept and move on. There was the narrative about 241 against.
That's 2013. I thought Binyavanga wrote an article praising those elections.
Did he?
Yeah.
I think he praised the winner.
Praising the elections in this, or praising Kenyans for fight for going against the ICC.
Yeah. Wait, 2013 was the ICC one?
Yes. You're talking about 2007.
No. It's 2013 one. The one for 2013. Yeah. So it was taking stock of that. So some of the non-fiction was about people walking around and seeing how the election was run. Yeah. So we did Kwani 8. Yeah. Then we also published Ayobami Adebayo, Nigerian writer, author of Stay With Me, which I think is like her best work yet. Personally think. The other book she wrote recently is also terrific, but I love Stay With Me. We did a book by a South African writer called Nikhil Singh. Teti Went West. Then we also published Nuruddin Farah, Hiding in Plain Sight. Yeah, those are the books I remember from that time. But of course, I got into Kwani towards Kwani started in 2003. I'm joining in 12 years later. The work that Kwani did is out there. They published Chimamanda Adichie's which one? Purple Hibiscus. Even Americana. Actually, Americana was.
They did Americana?
Yeah. It was published while I was there, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. They published Americana. Binyavanga Wainaina's Americana. I remember when we were launching Americana, there was like a book party. When I used to do these big parties, book party somewhere just on Monrovia Street, like there was a warehouse. You needed to buy a book. Chimamanda was here. She did a lecture at UON. Anyway, so you needed to buy a book. Yvonne's book was like 2 books at the same time. Americana and Dust came all together.
So that must be 2013.
Oh yeah, that was 2013. I hadn't joined them then.
Because Dust came out in 2013.
Yeah, but I hadn't joined them at that time. I was following the stuff they were doing. So the work that Kwani does I think speaks for itself.
So who are some of the personalities that you encountered when you were at Kwani?
Well, I think I met Binyavanga was still somehow involved, but Billy was the managing editor, Billy Kahora. Yeah, he's the one I worked with closely over that period. On the staff, we also had Clifton Gachagua. So there was me and Clifton Gachagua was assistant editors. Billy Kahora was the managing editor. Angela Washuka was executive director overseeing all other sort of management stuff. Billy was the editorial guy. Yeah. I mean, but of course, we had a Lit Fest in which the Kwani Lit Fest, that was in 2014, no, or 15. I don't even remember now.
Even 2012, I think. Like I think it was a yearly thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Lit Fest
Since
we had
2009.
The Lit Fest had a lot of people come on board during that language. It was the language Lit Fest. Yeah, we were talking about language and all of that. Yeah, there was a lot of writers who came at that time. Yeah, so of course in that moment where you have a Lit Fest, you were just behind the scenes, making sure everything is going according to plan, so you don't get to interact with a lot of people. Actually met Nuruddin Farah once. He came to the office. He's a nice guy, interesting guy.
Oh, so you work like it was there was an office.
Yeah, we had an office just next to the University of Nairobi. Yeah, on actually 14 Riverside Drive, just opposite to it. We had an office there. Then we moved to the Elephant later on.
The Elephant.
Yeah, the Elephant used to be on just off Muthankari. What was the name? Kenyatta Road. Yeah.
A building called the Elephant.
No, the place was called the Elephant. That's where we went after we left.
Is there a connection between that and the publication?
No.
Like in terms of would that be the inspiration for the naming of the publication?
There just used to be a white elephant on the gate. I don't know if they
because
they called the place the Elephant
because Yvonne was at Kwani, the Elephant, right? Okay, so what would you say was the what would you call Kwani? Was it a movement? Was it like, I know it's a publishing house, right? Yes. But it became something sort of more. Would you call it like like when you talk about the Renaissance, is an intellectual revolution. It feels Kwani was something of the same sort. And when you talk about the Renaissance, you are able to talk about the conditions that led to the emergence of the Renaissance. And I think the main one would be the invention of the printing press by Gutenberg, because then it enables intellectuals to start reading the Greek and all those texts that they could not have been able to access because they didn't have the money to access all the scrolls and so forth. But with the printing, it becomes so easy to read so much, and there's a flowering of new cultural and intellectual whatever's. So what would you say led to this revolution, the Kwani revolution?
I think it's been well written about, and part of it is this idea, I think, of, the thing we're talking about earlier, really, about publishers being unwilling to take risks with form, with subject matter, with work that could be a bit risque. And so a lot of the stuff the Kwani guys were publishing at that time wouldn't have been taken up by mainstream publishers. Even Kwani is like, so what do we do? Like, what Kwani comes out of that? Yeah, so we'll do this thing. Kwani, we'll get it. We'll start from somewhere. We'll get to learn this thing, and then we'll publish a thing. And there are stories about how the first issue came out was Binyavanga just coming and say, "Give me a story, give me a story, give me a story," and then they sat together and then they edited the stuff and then they get the work out. And then of course the Binyavanga then wins the Ken Prize. The Ken Prize, he wins the Ken Prize, then he starts Kwani, I think. I think that's the way it works.
The story goes that he wins, that before even, I think even before he wins, there's this whole, I don't know if it's an internet forum or something, or email chain or whatever, where all these people
Those
are contributing.
chat whatever.
Yes,
there
yes.
used to be those. Yeah.
So all these cool kids are, it's cool kids.
You're converging there. You're talking.
Yeah, they are cool kids. They are rich.
Yeah,
they're not from the lower classes. They are accessing the internet at this point. So they are all writing this forum or whatever, talking about literature and everything. And you have Yvonne there. You have all these people there. And then Binyavanga, I guess, I don't know if he was one of them or he comes later. So he wins the Kane Prize. And, he uses some of that money. But then it's not just that money because they needed more money.
Yeah.
So this lady, I don't remember her name, she worked at, she was an NGO person, I guess. So they write a proposal for funding. And Ford Foundation comes in, so they get the money and, from there, everything goes on.
Yeah, things pick up. Kwani's funders are well known also. They were on Kwani's website for a while. So then the funding comes in, and then they start doing the work that they eventually do. There's lots of people who got their first publication in the Kwani journals. The Kwani journals, there are 7 of them. There are 8 of them. I think he has some of the best writing out of Kenya and out of the continent. Now you ask about whether there was a movement or something. Kwani used to describe itself many times as a network and publisher. So I guess it was a network. And there's the oversized influence of Binyavanga on African literature. And there's so many people he gave opportunities. If Binyavanga saw your work and it was great, he would basically, connect you to something else, and then you go and do something else. And there's so many people who've spoken about being personally influenced in their literary work based on the connections of Binyavanga. If he liked you and the work was great, you'd find something to help you with, and then you'd go on and do other things. And there's a lot of African writers, not just Kenyan or East African writers, who then find home in Kwani, and from there they move on to do other things. Then of course Jalada comes in also after Kwani. Then now we have the other literary initiatives, Nkare, with the work that Troy is doing with the Lolwe. So that becomes another movement in the production. I don't think there's that many books that have come out of it, out of this 2000s to 2010 to 2020s movement. But it's partly because of the ecosystem not being sustainable in a way. Kwani was largely funded, and it closed when the funding dried up.
So basically the problem with the market, with the literature post-Kwani, is we don't have money.
What money?
Well, you said that it's the funding runs out, so Kwani goes. So you see, it shows that when there is funding, a lot of things can happen. We published all those books, had all those festivals, Kwani open mic. A lot of poets. Actually, I went on YouTube, on the YouTube page for Kwani, and I was looking at the open mics, and I realized so many of the poets I know today.
Everyone went through.
Akina Dofan, all those guys, they were from
the
Kwani.
stomping ground,
Even Rick's poet, what's her name? They all came from Kwani.
So, I wouldn't say it's...
So money is so important for
publishing
sustainability.
is very, very capital intensive. Publishing is very capital intensive. Think about it this way. If you're publishing one book, you'll sink nearly $1 million to print like 2,000 copies. Now that million is coming back in the unit cost of the book. And we've spoken about, or we discussed about this, discussed the fact that we're not buying enough books. So you have 1,000 books. You put $1 million in that. It's coming back one at a time, like in 1,000s. So you need something. I think that would be part of the reason publishers are not putting enough money in books for leisure. That is to say, because you put it in $1 million and then it comes back in 1,000. So if you can't sell this 1,000 books for 1,000 shillings within 3 months. That million you sunk is still stuck there. So it's very capital intensive.
Okay.
Yeah, because of that, you need to have some other things going on for you. For you to even break even, to have offices, to have premises, to have to pay staff, to do all of that stuff, it's really money. You have to have money. Now, there are innovative ways of doing this, and one of this is to have a thin office, do books based on pre-funding, run, say, like a crowdfunder, say, look, we have this book by Rogara. It's a terrific book. This is a synopsis. This is a snippet of it. Fund us to publish it, in which sense people are basically pre-ordering. If 1,000 people pre-order, then you pay editors, pay proofreaders, pay designers, pay typesetters, and all of that, and then print for the 1,000 people. Now, once you print for the 1,000 people, you have some money. Then you can go on and do a reprint. Now, the reprint is now profit, basically. So that is one way of thinking about it. The model where charities are funding work is not going to be with us forever. Funders have agenda. The agenda changes from time to time. That is why funding dries up, because sometimes you think, oh, I've funded literature for 10 years, maybe I want to now fund art or fund music. And so it means then that funding has to dry.
So what would be your parting shot as we wind up?
Well, I think we could thrive more as a publishing ecosystem. I think there's an opportunity in the number of people wanting to publish books, stories, short stories, anthologies, memoirs, for a serious somebody who is willing to put in some money to then consolidate the work that is going on in terms of the literary scene. I believe and I support people who want to self-publish, but I do hope they get the professionals to do the work for them, which basically means doing the correct process. Get a proper editor, get copy editing done, get proofreading done, get a professional person to get you a good cover, and then get work out there that is of the highest standard. I know the work that Nuri is doing with self-publishers, but I just hope that there is more in terms of professionalizing. I don't believe that our publishing ecosystem should just be people publishing themselves. It becomes a Juakali industry, which is not great. We need structures. I hope people buy more books. I hope people join book clubs. I hope we continue doing literary reviews, which has not been great in the last couple of years. Since the Saturday magazine, there was some, I think, editorial changes or direction changes. We don't get that enough. But it does not have to be in the mainstream. We have the internet. You read a book, you like it, you can write 500 words about it on your Facebook, on your Twitter. Blogging no longer works the way it used to work, but if you have TikTok, get the five books you've read and talk about them, and tell people where they can get them. Let's read Kenyan writers. Let's talk about Kenyan writers. Let's buy Kenyan books. Let's gift each other Kenyan books. And yeah, Kenya will be better for it.
Fantastic. Asante sana.
Asante sana.
For the for the good conversation, the insights. So I think we've been able to cover basically the entirety of Kenyan literary history and the conditions that have given rise to it, the conditions that have led to its evolution and to it becoming what it is today, and also maybe discussed a little bit of what can be done to force the next evolution from the juakaliness of it into something way better. So thank you so much. So that was Conversations in Literature. My name is Eric Rogara. Some people know me as Miyamoto Mswahili. So this was our first episode of the year, and this is a new season. We call it season 2. So we are going to continue bringing very engaging and interesting guests, and we are going to have more of the conversations like we've just had today, where we delve into the history and into what has happened, not just what is happening today, but what happened in the past. So we are going to be bringing more people who can tell us about the literary scene back in the 80s, maybe 90s, the Kwani era. So keep tuned, subscribe to our channel, Roaring Simba Network, and this is Conversations in Literature, sponsored by Nairobi Academic Press.